All right, Matt, Gannon, Jers, we are back for the Wells Fargo, for the Myrtle Beach Classic in the Myrtle Beaches. I think that's what it's called. Great week last week, specifically for you, winners at the Volvo China Open. Adrian Otaegui tags, our guy, comes through for you over there. And then Taylor Pendrith, the Canadian, not from the APAC region, but another international winner, random Euro of the week. That's not a random Euro, but actually a Canadian, wins it for us, wins it for you. In the Byron Nelson, we had a little battle on Sunday. Jake Knapp, I had him in the mix. He didn't really bring much to the table, but I know you're feeling good. I know you're running hot after running pretty pure there on 18 with Pendy. Tell me, how does it feel? What did you think? Give me the emotions. And how
Yeah, more than anything, happy to see Otaegui in Valhalla in a week and a
big.
half.
That is big.
That's the biggest news of the weekend. So yeah, it was a great sweat. I was up at 3:30 a.m. watching the China Open, and then woke up, watched the Byron, and Pendrith played great. Pendrith played decent golf through the middle of the round, got lucky, chipped in multiple times, but with outright golf betting, you have to just get your guy in the mix, and then from there, it's just luck. Sometimes you're going to have it, sometimes you're not going to have it, and you and I both, more times than not, aren't on that end of the good side. But luckily for me, I was yesterday. What happened on 18 was absurd. I was at a concert. I was watching it on my phone, and I was like, I didn't see Ben Kohles lie too well because I was like on my phone. I was like, that doesn't look too great. Maybe he puts it to like 15 feet, 20 feet, and he doesn't make birdie. I was like, okay, Pendrith will make birdie, playoff. Obviously what happened, and I was freaking out in the middle of like third eye blind. I was like, what is going on right now? And then yeah, it just all came at once. It was insane.
I think there is something to. I swear, like some of the luckiest wins that I've ever had. Like I think of Sam Burns when he beat Scottie at Charles Schwab. He hit that like insane putt in the playoff when Scottie like couldn't make anything on the back nine to win. I was somewhere in Scotland during that. Like I swear, there's something about being somewhere. Like and then
Right.
that time that Glover won FedEx when he like made some crazy. I didn't see any of it. Like I was at a wedding and it like. There's something about being somewhere that like the golf gods reward you for not being like
Right.
too in it. So that might have been what went your way with Pendy there.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think about that, but I was like, yeah, the vibes feel good. I'm just like walking around drinking, and it all happened. So you're right. You're right.
Well, good stuff. Before we get started, a few announcements per usual. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the pod. It helps us get it out there in front of more people. So that we can just, again, we're trying to find the ball knowers out there. We try to know ball the best we can. And I think so far people who also like to know ball are enjoying the pod. And so get it, like and subscribe so others out there can find out about it. We'll have boots on the ground next week, Jers, in Valhalla. That's been locked in. The boys will be down in Louisville. Jers hit the winner also at the Kentucky Derby, so he has to get to Louisville, see the city firsthand. So we'll be there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from start to finish of the practice round. We'll have all sorts of content and good stuff. So get over to the site, get to Vincerix, get signed up. Why not get the Wells Fargo and Myrtle Beach this week? And then you got boots on the ground coverage next week at Valhalla. And then also this week, we're going to be rolling out some new features that I kind of mentioned last week on the pod on golf.vincerix.com. We're trying to get some of the content integrated with the odds on there. So there'll be more about that probably on Twitter. I'll post about it. So if you're not following the Vincerix_golf account, just get over there, follow that so that you can get up to date with all of the new features. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to mix technology and content here at Jers to give the people the best experience that we can. So really excited about that. So please get over there and check that out. And as always, feel free to shoot us any questions, ideas, things that pop up. We're always trying to make it just the best that we can for people who like betting on golf like we do. So Jers, with that being said, we've got some tournaments to summarize. Let's start with the Byron because that was where Pendy came through for you. I had a reasonable amount of eyes on it, I would say, versus some recent tournaments, just because Jake Knapp got off to a good start, was kind of in the mix there. Had some other guys who were poking around. Outside of Pendy winning, what'd you make of the event? Obviously, Ben Kohles at Infinity to 1 was in there. The final round I thought was entertaining for sure. We know it's not the best course. It wasn't in the best condition, but overall, I actually thought it was a pretty good event.
Honestly, I was surprised more guys outside of that final group. Well, actually, no one. No one made a charge. 0 people were coming to posting a number. I look with that. It's the TPC Craig Ranch. There's 63s out there. I thought someone was going to do that. Like, remember the year I think Deki or Xander posted like a 63. Not that they didn't win, but they went out and did that. No one did that, and it just came down to the 2.5, 3 guys in the final group who had a chance on the back nine. I was shocked by that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, definitely no one outside of the final group really looked like they were ever that live. I think Noren was in there with the mix, but it's also Noren, and we kind of,
I never thought I never felt threatened by Noren, to
no.
be honest.
He hit that nice shot on 17. I was like, all right, that might give him a chance. But as he did that was when Kohles like stuffed it on 16, and then Kohles made that putt on 17. The other like thing that gets lost in the luck that went Pendy's way was that putt on 17, just like 360 horseshoe drops, and then he almost lifted
A
out.
lot of luck.
Yeah.
A lot of luck.
But when you've never won on the PGA Tour and you've kind of like, I don't think he's played good in the mix, I would say, like the handful of times he's been up there. Do you think this puts Pendy on the Press Cup team?
I do. I do think it does because he was on it last time, right? I believe so.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that win, he was already on it. I don't believe he played well on that President's Cup team, but I think that win will get him on. I do.
So it's like the Canadians that are locked in are Pendy and Taylor, and then I feel like
Taylor.
Hadwin and Hughes on the outside looking in, unless they
and Connors is on.
Oh, and Connors, yeah. So 3 Canadians, home soil. That should be fun. Strokes gained, Asia Pacific region. We got some guys into the mix. They couldn't quite get over the line. Ben on, classic Ben on performance. Ben on, I was thinking about this. He is the Xander of these weak field events. That has been on in these weak field events. On paper, there's green everywhere. Tee to green.
Noren.
It's yeah, and Noren. Noren was number 2 in the model last week. I was like, that's probably too high for Noren, but at the same time, he's probably going to finish in the side of the top 10. And then SH Kim. SH is on a nice little roll. He got up there. Aaron Rye continues to just
Texas guy.
Texas, just a solid golfer. And I think we saw too, like we talked on the pod last week, how Byron is the BSB Birdie Fest. These are a lot of BSB guys who you don't think of as like putt, like strokes gain spike putting guys that kind of ended up there near the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And what you said panned out. Like outside of Pendrith, Pendrith's profile was so odd. Like he barely gained that approach, striped the ball off the tee, which is how what I wrote up. I thought his driving prowess in the softer conditions would help it, and it worked out. But I was shocked to see him not gaining as many on his approach that I thought you needed to do to win here. But outside of that, everyone else fit that exact profile that you were saying on Monday.
When I think about Pendy too, I forgot you were even on him until like Saturday when we were texting. But when I saw you, the write-up that you did for him on the site, where it was a perfect write-up, I feel like, for how we think about golf. And I feel like doing these kind of shows when the odds come out has made us even more think about this. Like you wrote up that it really had nothing to do with his stats really, or like anything he had. Right. There was no stats that pointed to like Pendy's going to play good this week, really. Like besides he had kind of been okay recently. Right. It was his odds were half this in like a not similar, but an equally not great field a couple weeks ago, and he played good, and his odds were double. So let's do that. And I think these tournaments, it's just so clear that like chasing the bad numbers
is not the way to do it.
It's just not working. And like loading up on guys who are drifting in the odds versus kind of what their average is, that's been working.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The stats are great. Obviously, stats are great. You need stats to know what's going on. But at the end of the day, numbers and odds mean things. You got to know what's going on, know where guys sit on a weekly basis. And Adam and I will do our best effort to give you a leeway on doing how to do that. And it's worked for us this year. The drifters have been going insane you've been posting the chart every single week. It's crazy how the drifters just win nearly every single week.
Yeah, like I think Pendy last week was either drifting or no movement. Like since we've launched the tracking of that on Golf.com and Serex, I don't think there's been a single guy besides like maybe Scottie at the Masters who was green on the week for their movement in their odds. Like everyone is either flat or drifting. Chasing the numbers has delivered 0 wins on any tour. Like when we do it for LIV, we do it for PGA, we do it for the alt events. Like I think Brooks last week might have moved a little bit, but either way, like it's just there's no one worth chasing effectively. Right. Like there's just no one worth chasing and I think seeing it. One thing I want to do too on the side is like start to show where guys' average odds are in events based on like the field strength, and then show like where they are above or below, kind of their baseline odds, because golf is just a sport where it ebbs and flows. Like you can't be worried about what one guy did 1 week or the week before. And so, yeah, I agree with that. 100%. And then Jake Knapp in Byron played so good for those first few rounds. I was feeling pretty confident about him. He just looked good out there. He obviously had like a victory in his pocket. Just couldn't quite get it dialed in over the weekend, but he continues to look like a player who, if it's a course where he's going to be able to hit his irons clean to the green on pretty much every hole, regardless of where he hits it, he's a top 10 probably iron player on the PGA Tour every week.
Honestly, he looked the exact same yesterday than he did at Sunday in Mexico, but the course didn't allow him to have those misses. And you talked about the off-speed stuff like a while back in Mexico. There's a reason every golfer on the tour doesn't swing like he does, because that style of swinging does not hold up under the gun. And he got that Sunday pressure. It looked identical to he did in Mexico, but Mexico, he could have driven it anywhere. Whereas the course yesterday, he had some spots where he could have driven it, but there was a few spots where he got himself into trouble, had to chip out. Whereas in Mexico, he could have hit it out to the green, or at least close to the green. So it was a great call on Knapp. I like Knapp going into the week too, but I didn't pull the trigger. So we both had a guy in the mix. You're probably next. You're probably next if we get this again.
Yeah, well, when you were talking about the luck, it doesn't go our way. The last 2 weeks between LIV and PGA, like I've had so many guys in the mix going into the final round, and none of them have come through. But as you said, you just got to put guys in the mix, and they'll come through when they are ready to come through. Knapp, I thought he played good. I have no beef with him. I do think like on the off-speed stuff off the tee, he was swinging it better when he just took a full cut at it and hit 100%. His. Like I was getting tired of him hitting these like half swing, like aimed out there mini drivers. When he just took the big stick and launched it, it was going pretty much down the middle every single time. I think if he had just said, fuck it, I'm sending it every hole. I think also like, because he wasn't missing as wildly as he did in Mexico, but he was missing enough and getting behind the trees and like getting kind of fucked. I feel like he remembered that experience. It was like, oh, I'm going to like take it a little easy, put it in the fairways. He should have just sent it, because when he was sending it, it looked pretty good.
He talked about that on Friday, his interview after he shot the back-to-back 64s or whatever he shot. And they asked if there was any correlation from here to Mexico, and he was like, half the holes, like I feel like I can send it, but there's a lot of holes where I feel like I need to be in the fairway here to at least hit the green. Whereas Mexico was not like that at all. And yeah, I totally agree with what you said. When he tried to do those like super slow ones, his hands got way too fast and they were all miss left. I felt like everyone was miss left, and they were just pulls. So and when he did send it, they were fine. So you live and you learn.
Matty Walls, the other guy who's up there, he continues to play pretty good this year in these. Him and Knapp were the two guys who played good at Mexico. So when you get Wallace on a course where you can kind of hit it wherever you want, keep your eyes on Matty Walls. And anytime Matty Walls heads over to the DP World Tour, auto bet that's where he finds his game. We also had anything else on Byron? Anything else got your eye? Obviously, Spieth. We said he's hurt. He sucks. He played terrible. He was the big name. Day played terrible. Kind of went as we expected. It was wide open as anybody's game. We had a 401 guy in the mix, 101 guy in the mix. Like
100%. I agree.
Shout out to that kid from the UK, Chris Kim, 16-year-old, made the cut. We love to see that. We love to see that. Good for him.
My favorite British man. He is the most British looking man I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is great. Because I didn't even know he was in the field till like Wednesday. I think I saw somebody tweet, and then the British accent. It's great.
I was absolutely baffled. Like it's the BBGO sponsors this event. Like all these like APAC guys are in the field. Chris Kim, I'm like, okay, like we got another like South Korean, and then I hear him talk. I look at his flag. I'm like, this cannot be right. I go on his Instagram. Is like all in like the most like British you could be. It was hilarious.
I texted this week that if you turned on the coverage and you had it on mute, like I watched actually most of the final round on mute because I was working on stuff and I just had it on in the background. Like you wouldn't know where you were. You would have thought the tournament was in Korea. Like there were the giant green like BBGO signs. There was like hardly any people there. There was the CJ Cup signs everywhere. So it felt like an international event. And we do get the international winner in Pendy. And then actually internationally was LIV Singapore. There, Brooks Koepka, my guy, He gets it done. I was on him the week before at 28-1. I didn't chase the number down to 14-1 or whatever it was, even though it made sense. I did place my first ever team bet on Smash, which gave me a sweat. It was great. I loved it. They were 9-1.
What were the odds? At 9-1? Wow.
Yeah, it was 9-1 single bullet on Smash. They had the lead going to the final round, but the final round team competition, it's like anyone in the mix can win because all 4 guys' scores count. But the reason I did it was because of what we talked about last week, where when you watch the final round, they show so much of the team competition that if you don't have a guy in the mix in the team, or like if you not care about the team competition, the final round coverage isn't the best because you're seeing so much of it. It was perfect. I loved it. You know, the fact that I like had Smash in the mix, they kept showing the ripper shots, the smash shots. So I'm in on betting the team competition.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to transition our like pod narrative as a live team betting podcast because we got to tweet about that or a message about that. I'm down to. It's definitely an electric sweat. I've not experienced it yet, but I feel like that would be a super electric sweat. Every single shot from a guy like T43 means so much. I'm down.
Well, it was like it was both, I think, a high point and a low point of my golf betting, because the low point was thinking to myself, like, I'm sweating Graham McDowell and Jason Kokrak right now against like Matt Jones.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were saying like, what the fuck is Graham doing? I fucking hate Kokrak. I was like, what? I was shocked.
Yeah, because it was like Brooks was, and the other problem is, if the guy who is winning the tournament going into the final round is on your team, that's not good. Because like Brooks was in just like play it safe mode versus Cam Smith. Cam Smith might have looked the best of any player on the course over the last couple of days. Like his irons looked like Cam Smith elite irons when he was good about 2 years ago. This is an aside, but Cam Smith popped into my head and I wanted to talk about him. Go look at pictures. I noticed this a couple weeks ago. Go look at pictures of Cam Smith. Oh, just search Cam Smith on Google, and all these pictures pop up of him. His like physique changes between when he's playing good golf and bad golf is like extreme. Like when he won the Open, he was super thin and like looks completely different than he did other times.
He talks about that.
Yeah, and he talked about it on the broadcast, saying that like he's really focused on his like diet, his health and stuff, and he looked fucking good. He is striping his irons. If he can get the driver anywhere near the fairway in the next 3 majors, watch out for Cam Smith.
He literally talked about that from a golf aspect too. He's like, when I'm playing my best golf, I'm practicing a lot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would think so. And I feel like that correlates to like what his diet and nutrition and fitness is too. So, but we obviously know he's addicted to like, he loves partying and drinking beers. So find the balance, Cam. You're a top 10 golfer in the world when you're clicking. So if you want to win, I guess figure out what you do.
I think it speaks to like how talented he is that like he starts practicing for like 3 months and he instantly becomes a top 5 like player in the world once again. And then he like half-asses it. He's like top 30 player, but he looked great. I didn't watch as much of the first couple rounds. I watched all of the final round to get my Smash team sweat in there. Brooks is just, when Brooks gets the lead, everybody knows it's over. Everybody knows it's over. Brooks knows it's over. The rest of the field knows that it's over. The fans know it's over. The announcers know it's over. Like, it was over. Like, no one, even people who weren't really following the tournament, you know, even LIV haters, people who were just seeing the scores, everybody knew Brooks was winning once he took a multiple shot lead into the final round.
Yeah, as soon as I saw him, so he was leading for the majority of the first round, then Munoz made a charge late. But even then, I was like, all right, Brooks is doing it. I have to talk about my Rahm, another failed effort on Rahm. A hand up, horrible bet, but you move on. Can't win them all.
The thing about that is you can say you would have won all 3 bets, all 3 tournaments last week if you didn't single bullet Rahm. So you just say like that was a bias, but you can almost say you won all 3 tournaments.
Yeah, basically won all 3 tournaments, but no, I definitely would not have picked the winner, so I can't say that. But so I'm not at the end of the day, like, I'm not that mad that I bet Rahm because I know I wouldn't have landed on those guys. So it is what it is. Maybe I'll bet Rahm again, but we have some time for that. When's the next LIV event? Like a few weeks?
It's Nashville.
Valderrama? Nash.
It might be Nash, but it's coming up. It's not next week, obviously not PGA. It might be the week after that. But. Okay. Obviously, the talk now is Brooks at the PGA. That's everybody wants to talk about Brooks at the PGA.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think that I said this at the Masters. Brooks 20-1 in any major besides the Open, because that's the only major where he doesn't like consistently show up, is a good bet. in my opinion. I don't care really what he's doing before or what he's doing at all. 20-1 on Brooks in a major is a good bet. He wins at like a rate where that makes sense. And you compare him to all the next week, like it's not even just about Brooks. It's who else besides Scottie really should be favored ahead of Brooks at a major. And especially now that Brooks is in excellent form. It sounded like you're probably out on him, but I haven't decided if I'm going to bet him or not. Cause like we're going boots. I kind of want to just decide when we get there. Yeah. But from a betting perspective, I don't have any problem with it at all.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of bet Brooks like today and yesterday after he won. It just feels like a very sheepish move. Like, yeah, he won LIV. Yeah, he's Brooks Koepka 20-1. It makes too much sense in my opinion. And golf betting is never that easy. He's a major killer. But at the end of the day, Brooks Koepka, 20 times your money in a major. No real beef. No real beef.
I think it also.
I could also say that about so many golfers, but with Brooks, like I can't say that because I'm on the record for saying Brooks has no chance to win last PGA, and he did. So Brooks, you have one on me for sure. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here.
I think what also, if on a positive, besides the fact that he played obviously nicely and won the tournament and looked solid, is that he spoke about he felt embarrassed by his Masters performance and he really focused over these last few weeks. And then he said last week he worked with Claude Harmon at Adelaide, and on like Wednesday or Thursday of Adelaide, he felt a change in his swing and he's feeling really confident. So like when Brooks says those types of things, I tend to take his word for it because he's pretty honest about like the state. He doesn't say like I'm playing great when he's not playing great. He says like it is what it is. So
right.
I think he's very live next week. Obviously we'll get boots. We'll get a sense of the course. I think too, like I haven't done a ton of research on Valhalla, but the only way to defend the course is going to be to grow the rough up super deep and make the rough super thick, which it sounds like they are. That's a PGA where Brooks can win. I think it's a good course for Brooks. So we will see. TBD if I'll be on him, but I can't fault anybody who's pulling the trigger now. I assume the odds on him will only go down. Overall, I did want to say we've somehow, I feel like we give LIV as much coverage and fair due as as anyone. I genuinely do. Like we like LIV, we watch LIV, we bet on LIV, we talk about LIV, we route it up on the site, we cover it on, we put the odds on the site. Like we give LIV its due, and somehow we still have people every episode upset with our LIV coverage. I'm like, we like LIV. We're giving an honest assessment of the like things that and when we say stuff that we think could be better, it's because we want it to be better, not like we're shitting on LIV saying it's bad. Like I can say there's no like we're not LIV guys. I don't know what a LIV guy is, but like somehow we're getting the LIV haters in the mentions after each of these pods.
Yeah, and we're not going to change our name on Twitter to LIV Golf Makes Me Hard. We're not that deep into the LIV Golf weeds, but we are obviously a PGA Tour focused show, and it's because of the data. We have so much PGA Tour data, but we dedicate a decent amount of time to LIV every single time there is LIV, and we both love betting on LIV. We love watching golf. Like we're going to hate on the PGA Tour when it's ass. We're going to hate on the LIV when it's ass. We're going to love them both when we love them. So I don't know why we're getting hate for the LIV stuff. It's great every single week.
Yeah. And I think it's true of both. This is true of the PGA. This is true of LIV. And, we both see it tweeting, doing podcasts, all sorts of stuff. We see it BK, experiences. It's like, what I just don't understand is people who like get so angry to defend either the PGA Tour or defend LIV or defend whatever it is. It's like, don't you just want what's best? That's what we want. We want the best of it. Like we just want it to be enjoyable to watch for fans, enjoyable to bet on. And I think LIV this week was that one of the things I said last week was that like the coverage in the final round wasn't able to see Louis. Apparently there's this new thing where you can watch all the players live. I didn't see it this week. I didn't test it out, but like if that exists, obviously that's sick. So let's just keep golf moving forward. We want the best for golf. That's what we're here for. And that leads us to a week where there is no LIV this week. Was there anything else in LIV that caught your eye? I think for me it was Brooks. Cam Smith looked good. Ripper GC back to back. Shout out to them. They took down Smash. I think that's
Dynasty.
Also, Cleeks. Apparently Cleeks is really crushing it out there. They the four aces. Your four aces. You said you almost wore the hat on the podcast today. You couldn't because you were in an Alabama sweatshirt. Do you have a statement on what's going on with the four aces? It's their struggle bus.
It's not great. I mean, they were the original dynasty team champions and struggle bus. Dustin's not sharp. Patrick Reed hasn't yet to figure it out and live. We definitely have to have a meeting in the four aces camp very soon. Very soon.
And we won't expand on it, but we know HV3 is not focused on the golf either. So that's a concern. And so that's LIV. They'll be back at some point in the next few weeks, and then obviously they will be at the majors, and we'll get boots on the ground on the guys and report on how they are looking out there. Wells Fargo, Quail Hollow. It's a classic event every year. Sometimes they don't play it at Quail Hollow, but they're back. I see it as, first of all, Scottie's not playing. Signature event. We got no Scottie. So somebody's going to win who's not Scottie.
Someone will win.
Someone will win. That's exciting. Jers, for me, and the stats back it up, and we can talk about them in a second, but we got ourselves, if last week everybody was like, iron playing putting, spike putting, Byron Nelson, like, no, the data said it's tee to green, like, is going to be the key, and distance and driving is like the key areas. This week, everybody's going to be like, oh, Quail Hollow, difficult course, major championships, like ball striking. A lot of driver putter success here at the Wells Fargo. Cheers.
Yeah, key in on total driving. You drive it long and straight, you will find success, and that pans out year in, year out in the leaderboards. If you're playing if you start on second base with the driver, you will find a way to make it happen here. And I do think the course setup will be fairly easier than we want it to be, like kind of like it was last year. I think they're going to do that again from what I've seen recently. So take a few more shots than maybe you'd want to in like a normal, I guess, quail or normal difficult conditions type deal. I don't think it's going to be as difficult as we've seen it in the past.
One thing, especially on the putting front, because I totally agree. I think off the tee, putting, you got to have some approach obviously as well, but I think if you're driving it long and straight, to your point, you're going to gain on approach just because you're going to have better approach opportunities than other players. The interesting thing for me here, and this worked last year, I didn't pick Wyndham, but after the fact, looking back on it, he fit this to a T, was guys who are trending with the putter. So on the site, we do this thing, incoming strokes gain, that shows by finishing position like how you were trending over from L100 to L12 with the strokes gain categories. For putting for winners at Wells Fargo, L50, their baseline putting, 0.18 per round, which is pretty solid. Like that's a above average putter. L50, L36 is 0.28, L34 is 0.37, and by L12 it's 0.6. So these are guys who are like they're good putters who are trending with the putter. So we're looking for guys this week who on average are good putters, like you sort L50, on Data Golf or whatever, they're putting. But then when you dive in, you don't want to see a guy who's been struggling with the putter or cold with it. You want a guy who's been heating up. So I think we always try to give out like a key little stat for the week.
That's definitely an interesting nugget.
And last year, that was what Clark was doing. Like Clark's always been a good putter, but he was really hot with the putter coming in. And same with Rory the year before. Rory was like trending nicely with the putter. So be on the lookout for guys who are hot with the flat stick. But overall, probably minus 17-ish winner.
Yeah, I'll say that range, 15 to 17.
To the board. We've already got the odds up on Golf Top and Sarix this week for a handful of books. So the last couple of weeks, we've been given the FanDuel odds. This week, we're giving the best odds for what we've got so far. Top of the board, as expected, Rory McIlroy. Best right now on him is plus 850, fresh off of that win at the esteemed Zurich Classic. Xander's next at 10-1, and then Ludwig Aubert is 12-1. That's kind of the three guys who are separated at the top of the board. Who do you like the most out of that group, and maybe who do you like the least out of those three?
I'll say Xander. I like the most. Ludwig's probably the answer, but I'm gonna stick to my core and go with the Xander guy who almost won this event last year, a guy who will have that leg up off the tee, as will all of these guys. So I'm not gonna say that. I just feel like Xander's due, as much as bland and as boring as that sounds. But I gotta pick one of them. I'll go with X.
I'm looking quickly at their putting because we just talked about the trending. I think if you're ordering, I would go Xander, Lud, Rory in the like hotness with the putter, but all of
Okay.
them are putting solidly. Like no one is struggling with the putter to a degree where I'd say like they've got no chance. The model, like Xander, he's number 1, Ludwig's number 4, Rory's number 6 in the model this week. Rory's course history obviously speaks for itself. I know you will decide, and we usually we say one thing, and sometimes you end up doing the other. Is there single bullet possible or like going to the top of the board possibility for you, or are you thinking a bigger card down the board?
I could see myself going to Xander. I definitely think I can. I just bet this man so much, but maybe not. It's in the consideration right now, which is still early on Monday though.
My job is to always remind people about Xander. You're going to see a lot of green. It's going to make a lot of sense. I'm not the only time I said he has 0.00, he will not win. He has 0 chance of winning was the Masters. But that was because it was the Masters. He doesn't have the dog to win the Masters. He could win Wells Fargo. He almost won it last year. He played good enough to win if Wyndham didn't swoop him. But 10-1, 10-1 on a guy who hasn't won in. There's kids who are able to walk now, who were born after the last time he won a tournament. They're probably like, it's just.
I agree with you. The only thing that I'm thinking is like, it would make sense for Xander to win the week before major. That's it, and then just him disappoint next week. That's all I'm saying.
That also obviously fits Rory. I tweeted Rory about too. Rory after Zurich that like Rory winning Zurich and then Wells and then going to Valhalla where he's won the PGA before to become the most tipped like into oblivion. That to me is even more classic than Xander winning this week.
Definitely can see those outcomes coming. I can.
And Rory's won, I think, each of like we talked about it before the Masters. He's won a handful of times before majors over the last couple of years. So watch out for Rory doing that again. Obviously, I will not be chasing that. I think Ludwig is the most likely winner of the tournament, but
I think I agree with you.
12-1 is really tough on a guy whose lone win is the RSM Classic. But who like so the thing about this field is after Ludwig it goes to Wyndham, he's 18-1, and I think that's fair. Like Wyndham in the last 3 signature events has gone second to Scottie, third to Scottie. Now he comes to a place where he won last year in dominant fashion, like one of the biggest strokes gained total performances by any player over the last couple of years. He's at 18-1. I think I would have a hard time arguing for any of the guys above him at lower odds, basically, is kind of how I feel about it.
And he's got the dog. He wants it. He wants to be that number 1 golfer in the world. He's in the prime of his career, arguably. Hard to argue with. I've never been a Wyndham guy. I've never chased Wyndham numbers, so therefore I'm not going to do it now. But it makes sense for sure.
But the kind of where I was going with that is like there's the 3 guys at the top, then there's Wyndham. But then after that, we get into the range of despair. Where it's all of these guys who, like, what evidence do we have that they have any chance of winning? Obviously, Scottie not being in the tournament increases everybody's chances of winning, but it's not like any of these guys have really even been close to. The only guy who has truly been pushing Scottie is Wyndham, and then Xander, like, at the Players, and Ludwig at the Masters. Those are the only guys who I ever thought, like, they actually have a chance to beat Scottie. I always tweet out when Scottie plays that list of guys who have not beat Scottie in any tournament the whole year. Because then you get Cantlay, Tommy, Max, Colin, Vic. Those are the guys in the 20s. The range of despair. I think Max will obviously be popular. He's my most tipped prediction for the week, especially at 25-1. I think he'll get hammered. Any of these guys you like? Any of them makes not just do they make sense? Because with these guys, it's not about do they make sense. It's about are they good bets in the 20s? Do any of them jump out as good bets to you?
I think Cantlay is a good bet because he's around this range where he's been, but on the higher end, he's kind of been closer like that in the teens more the last 2 years. And he had that bad ball striking stretch in 2024, but he's rattled off 2 solid performances, back-to-back starts, and obviously has played well on big East Coast golf courses. So if I'm not going to love anyone down here, if I start a card with a 20-1 Patrick Cantlay, hasn't won in a while, but I feel like he's not going to not win for a while. I can start there. I think I can.
I bet Cantlay here last year.
I think I definitely did.
That was every week until the Open. He makes sense for the course for sure. I don't know if the form is there at 22-1. Another guy who hasn't won in a long time. I really like him next week. I've liked him at Valhalla for a while, so I hope he plays well. I hope he doesn't win I hope he plays medium because I'd like to get some good odds on him next week. But I think from a course fit perspective, when he's in form, this is obviously a place that totally makes sense for him. Drive it, putt it, get a little spike going with the irons. The guy that I think is the bounce back special of the week, we talked about him at RBC where he was bet into oblivion, the worst bet of all time that week. That's Tommy Fleetwood. He's not going to win the Wells Fargo, but he might be a lock for a top 5. I think he was, what did he finish here last year? Pretty good.
Yeah, I think he was 5th.
Yeah, he was he's T14, T5 his last 2 appearances here. He was never, ever going to play well at RBC Heritage. And before that, it was T7 at Valero, T3 at the Masters. I like Tommy. I can't bet him at 25-1. If he drifted to like 30s, I might pull the trigger. Max, like I said, he's going to be tipped into oblivion. Winner here in better form. Colin, it's not a Colin course. He's not played well here before. And then we got Vic, who...
What's Vic's number?
28. I don't think it's a terrible bet.
No, he hasn't shown shit. He's played well here in his career, and the golf course makes a ton of sense. This is probably the golf course has made the most sense for Victor since like Genesis, maybe. Like he hasn't had like a great course fit. Maybe API.
Yeah, API.
Yeah. So I think,
but
yeah, I don't know. I'm down.
What I would say about Vic is that besides the Masters where he played just bad, before that his ball striking was fine. Like he was hitting it fine off the tee. His approach play was okay. It wasn't to the level of like Vic's peak numbers, but it was obviously the short game where he was getting destroyed. He in 2021 here was T3, basically gaining 0 around the green. So like if he hasn't played since the Masters, we know he's been grinding on his game. I think at 28-1, and I don't know if there'll be some drift on him. He's already drifted 14%. His consensus open was 22. He's drifted to 25. So maybe he can drift a little bit more in the 30s.
That'd be lovely.
Why not? Because if he found it, the players of his quality, when they find it, they don't need to, ease back into it. He could just show up and be striping it again. His confidence is back. And when he's in form, this is Viktor Hovland to the T.
100%. I agree with you there. I do.
Of these guys who are at bad odds for their like normal odds range, I'm putting Theegs and Hideki together. They're at 30-1. They're number 3 and number 5 in the model. I think they make a ton of sense. I bet Theegs here last year. He played pretty good in the first round and then kind of drifted away. He's almost become a driver putter guy, Theegs, with how he's playing this year. And then Hideki hasn't played since the Masters. He was obviously 20-1 at the Masters and somebody that people really liked. He doesn't play RBC. He's been T5 when they had the PGA here. That was back in the day. He hasn't played this tournament a lot. Not obviously a great putter, but who of those two do you prefer at 30-1?
Yeah, that's a great question. Theegala has become like so consistent, whereas in the past he's been so up and down. Whereas Hideki, he's having another great ball striking season. He's like gaining 6+ ball striking on like a regular basis and kind of going undershadowed on that aspect of things. I'll probably go with Theegala because we don't exactly know what his ceiling is yet. Like he's still a young guy who's coming up and has shown great things and is yet to break through in a massive spot. So I'll go with Theegala there.
Yeah, I think Theegala checks all the boxes this week for sure.
Yeah.
Teagues is my guy. I love Teagues. I want to be on Teagues when he wins a big event. It's just like at 30-1. It's so tough. So
because it can go so south so quick.
Yeah, and as we always say, when you bet the guys in this range above 30-1, you want a guy who you can trust to at least be on the fringes of the mix. Teagues could be last place. He could be third place. Like anything can happen. A guy who I haven't done a bunch of research on, his name just popped into my head when I was looking at stuff last night. Matt Fitzpatrick. Matty Fitz. He's 33-1. We know he wins big events pretty much once a year now. He's 33-1. The driver's looking better. The putter is white hot. Played here once, tied for 35th on debut last year. Stats are fine. I kind of like Matty Fitz. What do you think about him?
Yeah, he's definitely going to go under the radar, which is I think is a good thing. And driver heavy golf course, Matt Fitz can definitely make sense there. I like that he's, like I said, going under the radar, not going to be super obvious this week. Definitely can make you some money in DFS, potentially cash an outright ticket. I think I like Fitz too with you.
He's playing consistently too. He's 5th at the Players, tied for 10th at Valero, T22 at the Masters, T28 defending RBC, and then he carried his brother to a T11 at the Zurich.
I agree.
I just like him. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done enough research to point to exactly why I like him, but I just think his odds in these types of events, when he's in the 30s and he's in okay form, which he is, he can win basically through the rest of the year in the big events. Fitz is a threat to win any of them every time he tees it up.
I can see myself getting to Fitz. I bet him a lot to start 2024 because he was one of my like breakout guys this year. So I can see myself getting there.
JT or Cam Young at like 35.
Both I do like. I'll go with JT. He's one here.
I mean, purely on strokes gained dog, you got to go JT in that that matchup. I will say Cam Young at 35, not a horrible number on him. We've seen him in the 20s in these type of events.
I like Cam Young too a lot. I might bet Cam Young. Wake Forest connection.
Yeah, these style of courses, I think we've gotten these are the reasonable odds I'd say on Cam Young. The next tier of guys, nonsensical golfers largely across the board. 40-1, we've got Finau, Si Woo, Russ, Spieth, and Noren. If you have to have one of those guys, which I don't want any of them, but if you had to have one of them, who would you want?
You know what's crazy? Noren's the worst bet out of those, obviously, but he would probably cash a matchup versus all of those guys.
100%. And the model agrees. He's 8 of those guys. Finau's 17 in the model. Siwoo's 10. Henley's 23. Spieth is 43, and Noren's 8. Like Noren is right now the best golfer of these 5.
And I was looking at his strokes gain numbers last week at the Byron. He was like +2, +2, +2, +2. It was just like so across the board consistent, so Alex Noren-esque, and that's his game. I mean, if I had to pick one, probably him. But like we're talking like high ceiling,
My only concern with he's been so consistent. He's gained every tee to green category in 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last 5 starts. Like he's doing everything good. The driver's his weak point. He's played terrible here before.
Yeah.
So I maybe would go with Russ just because I don't know how Russ has played here before, but like he's been playing okay form wise. Now he's been terrible here.
He's been bad. Yeah, Russ has been bad here. Finau has having underratedly good ball striking season. He's honestly hitting the ball like as good as he's hit it. He's just not putting, which makes a ton of sense.
He's playing good here before.
I could be down for Finau.
Yeah. Fuck, I could be down for Finau. But
the ball striking numbers look good, right?
Yeah, they do. But I trust the numbers. I really do, especially some of these key numbers. Like on a weekly basis, I swear the key numbers, they come through. Like I try to stick with them the best that I can. Trending with the putter, long-term baseline good putter is not Tony Finau. So I maybe would take him as my like match in a 5 ball of these guys. I'm taking Finau, but maybe for winning even 40-1, I don't think there's enough like discount there for him. Next tier of guys, I'll give you all the guys in the 50s. One of them's your guy. Sungjae, Connors, Harmon, Akshay, Adam Scott, Will Zalatoris, Sam Burns, Bez. Which name pops out to you?
Akshay. Akshay does. Akshay, young golfer, long and straight off the tee, will start on second base if he's driving it well. And he did also grow up in North Carolina. Got that connection. And then Zalatoris, them two. I would go with those two. Zalatoris, the number is drifting. The game is not bad. His game is not A1, but it's not bad. 50-1 is an incredible number. Incredible number. He also, North Carolina guy, went to school at Wake.
A guy? Yeah, I agree with that. The highest model rank of all these guys actually rank out solidly in the model. Like they're all kind of middle tier. The guy who's the best in the model though is Akshay. He's number 7.
I like
and he checks the boxes, trending with the putter, good at everything effectively. Like his around the greens is only weakness, but he can sometimes spike for fat around the green numbers. Like when he gets it going, he can really get it going. Sam Burns is a guy who I like at this course. When I think driver, putter, I obviously think of Sam Burns. I bet him here last year. I think he missed the cut. I don't think he played very good. He's not in the best form. He's been off since that hot stretch that he had on the West Coast. But I just have to say, this course, he played good at the Pres Cup here when he like carried Scottie with the Pres Cup here. I like Sam at this course, 55-1, and he's drifting. He's already drifted 6%. If he drifts more, like there's a certain point where I just have to bet Sam. And
yeah,
getting towards the 60s definitely gets close to that for me.
Yeah, he was 60. He was around this number last week too, or last start at the Heritage. I bet him did not go well. Well, he just had a child, and I think that's definitely taking. He had a baby like Masters week or the week after the Masters.
That's right. Him and Scottie both
planned it for sure.
Yeah. So
I wonder which one's gonna be a better golfer
between the kids.
We'll track it.
Well, yeah. Once they start playing AGA at like age 6, we'll make sure to have it. This is a complete tangent. But I'll tie it back. Completely random. Speaking of like young kids playing sports, I'm a Liverpool fan. I've been a Liverpool fan for like 10 years. I just chose a Premier League team and I picked Liverpool. They did an Instagram of their U9 signing day. Like there are all these, there was like 20 kids like posted up, taking like the photo with they're like standing like this, taking U9. So our tracking of Scottie and Sam Burns' child in the U6 AGA, that's normal now apparently. So be on the look. We'll add that to the site. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Well, yeah, that'll be on the site soon.
There's a ton of guys. I think it makes sense why it's like this. It's just because this field is small and shitty. At the bottom, like there's just some guys who joined the field who are not good. Obviously, the top of the field is solid, but there's a ton of guys between 60 and 100. Shane Lowry, Harry Ings, Denny, Jaeger. What are your thoughts on Jaeger? You bet him last week. He played fine. I think these are closer to the Jaeger scoring conditions. What do you think?
100%. This is definitely a Jaeger golf course, and he's fearless. So I do like Jaeger this week.
Well, let me look at his stats really quick.
Yeah, I think they were fine. He didn't hit his irons good.
Yeah, the putter's the only issue with Stevie Eggs. It's just it's a complete wild card with the putter, and we're looking for trending putters. Denny's obviously trending putter, but he can't drive it well enough. But
he almost won Memorial, so
yeah, he's already.
That might have been the craziest win of in history of golf if Denny won Memorial.
Well, he did win. So that one win that he has at Memorial is unbelievable. The problem for Denny is he's already positive 4% in the odds. People are betting Denny, and you don't want chalk Denny at all.
Everyone knows that.
Of the Georgia boys, Sepp or Chris Kirk, like either of them.
Sepp is trending. Sepp is figuring it out. Get him on Bermuda. Georgia boy. Last 2 weeks, however, some of the best he's played this season in terms of strokes gained and in terms of results. Down for Sepp.
Yeah, like Sepp. I don't love the odds. He's 66-1 right now, and he's not played good here, but he is trending in all the areas, driving and putting. Sepp, looking good. Billy Ho. I will say, why not Billy Ho? He just won in... Where did
Corrales. I mean, it's the same course. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, but like
identical course.
He's driving it good. He's putting it good. He's played here twice. He gained tee to green across the board in each time. Before he won in Corrales, he had a T9, a T12, a T7. I don't think he's going to win back to back, but
he won Memorial. If you win Memorial, you can play well here.
I totally agree. Rickie coming back to the place he's won. You're the Rickie guy. You keep a track of where he's hitting his drivers, how the misses. You thought he might be able to bounce back at the Masters. Any chance for Rickie to do something special at a place that he's had success?
Honestly, like for some reason, he always drives the ball well here, and it's all that. Like if he can just channel those good vibes, he's hitting his irons well again. He's found something with his irons, and he fucks here a lot. He's played so well here, even in the PGA Championship. He's played really well here. So I'm definitely down for Rickie. What are his odds? I mean, I'm not going to bet him, but
he's 70-1.
Those are horrendous odds.
But they're horrendous. But he also has T30 Masters, T18 Heritage. And he's literally plays good here almost every single time. I I don't think it's an outright bet, but
Actually,
watch out.
Maybe.
Keep your eyes peeled for Rickie. I think that could be something. Posty, we love Posty every week. You can get the putter going. Why not? Posty,
North Carolina guy too.
Won at Wyndham. He's won in the state before, so watch out for Posty. We get to the triple digits here. Well, actually, first random Euro of the week, or Canadian, or South African of the week. You got anyone? It was a random.
Can APAC be in that list or no?
Yeah,
it's its own category.
No, it needs its own category. Any of the random Euros or Canadians you like this week?
I think Corey Connors is safe. I think Corey Connors will finish T12 and just hit every fairway and every green and make a putt once in a while.
Want to know who's 150 to 1 again?
Who?
Nick Taylor.
Dude, Big Dick Nick. He has not played well here. I don't believe he's played well here. But
he hasn't played here a lot. He did miss his first 3 cuts, but he went T54 2019. Then he was T26 his last time here, 2021, and he gained ball striking.
I don't think he has the driver to really separate himself, yeah, I don't know.
He would just need a fat spike putting performance, but still, like,
which he could do.
At 150 to 1 in a 70-man field, Big Dick Nick, at least got to give him a look in for a random Euro or Canadian or South African of the week. Like, why is he behind Hughes and Hadwin in the odds? That doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense. Actually, wait, he's behind Hadwin too?
He is 150 to 1. Hadwin is 100 to 1.
That makes 0 sense. 0.
I don't. Is there nuance at this course?
Well, Sepp can be our random Euro of the week.
Yeah, there we go. Sepp. Random Euro of the week. Sepp. There's nuance. So Nick Dunlap, he can't play well.
There's more nuance at Myrtle Beach though, which we'll get to, than there is here.
That's fair. Anyone in the triple digits catch your eye? We've got Pavone up here. We've got Glove, who's one here. We've got Kurt. I kind of like Kurt this week. Under the radar. Always watch out.
I was going to say
Keegan's 100 to 1. Any of those guys? Cam Davis, 125 to 1.
I was going to say Kurt, Cam Davis, and I was going to say one more guy. Kurt, Cam Davis, and one more guy. What's Cam Davis's odds though?
125.
And
Kurt's 100. But I think these guys in the triple. Well, maybe not. Some of these guys are going to drift, but also some are going to go the other way. So you kind of got to pick your poison this week.
What about Ben On?
Benny On. Did I miss?
It's a great golf course for Ben On.
Oh shit! I
he's got to be 50 to 1.
I missed him. He's 45 to 1. Unfortunately,
makes sense. That makes sense.
Top 10. Give him a top 10. He can't putt well enough, I don't think, to win.
He hasn't played well here in his career, but the golf course makes sense.
I'm trying to find guys in the triple digits who have the ability to just bomb it, putt it. P-Raj. Any interest in P-Raj?
Yes, I know P-Raj. P-Raj has gained with the driver this season. He has picked up distance this season for some reason, and he could definitely putt it. He probably won't get any strokes on approach, but I'm definitely down. I think he finished like T2 here in his career.
His career.
Is that true?
He T2 on debut, and he's played terrible ever since.
Yeah, okay, down.
But yeah, P-Raj, why not? He won't win, but fuck it. He could get on the card or maybe DFS. Every lineup for P-Raj, he might be popular. We'll see. Eric Cole. You went to a concert with Eric Cole last night. How did you get any sense of how he was looking? Did he look excited for the event? If you had to pick his exact finishing position based on what you saw from the concert last night, where would you put Eric Cole?
How many guys were in the field?
70.
T48. He was drinking a beer. He was wearing a cutoff and wearing very, very low inseam shorts and just vibing, just as you think Eric Cole would be. Yeah, on the grass, just having a good time.
We love to see that. We're excited for Wells. Give me your, and obviously that'll be on the site. We'll have some of the picks, I think, maybe on Golf Top and Sarix as well this week, some of the write-ups. But who is your, give me 5 names right now that like you feel like at least 1 or 2 will probably certainly be on the card.
Patrick, Akshay, one of Cam Young or Zal, one of those 2. And I'll leave it at that. Those are 4. I think I'm not really sure after that. One of those 4.
I'll probably say guys that like just purely on the odds catch my eye out of the gates. Matty Fitz at 33.
Also can get there.
Wyndy if he drifts into the 20s, which I don't think he will, but I could be interested. I think Wyndy is the only guy near the top who I would actually bet, even though I think Ludwig's going to be like my pick and like one and done and things like that. I can't pull the trigger on the odds. And then I really genuinely don't know. The Fitz was the only guy where I was like, this is fair. When I saw that, I was like, this makes sense. So maybe I do go to the top of the board. I don't know. We'll see. But Fitz was the guy who kind of caught my eye out of the gates. And then we've got Myrtle Beach. Sick course.
Sick course.
I'm sure you took a look at the venue. But give me a 30,000 foot view of what's it? The beach club and the
Dunes Beach Club, something like that. Robert Trent Jones design, par 71. It's around I think it's gonna play 7,400 yards. So just on that, doesn't sound like a minus 25 event. It sounds like it'll be fun. Hopefully it's close to the ocean. We'll have some wind, hopefully. And then from there, you think of courses that RTG designed, there's definitely some nuance in those. So good thing Nick Dunlap is not in this field, because it would be a generational wealth opportunity for us, fade him in every market. So yeah, I don't think you can just bet anyone. I think you got to bet decent golfers like this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I've never seen a tournament where the leader in the odds is 25-1, and then there's a bunch of guys like,
who's the favorite?
I mean, right now it's Eric Van Rooyen at 25-1, which I actually like Eric. I was making the model last night, and it was kind of similar to Byron when I was like, I make the model, I make some adjustments, I kind of look at it, make sure that it makes sense. I was like, what are the guys at the top of the model the right guys? That, it was so hard to know who was going to be favorite or who was going to be high in the odds, and I think the model ended up in the ballpark. But the whole field is effectively between 30 and 70-1. Anyone the entire field is between 30 and 70-1. I think I looked at the course last night, did a little research. It looks like a reasonable ball striking test. 7,400 yards. There's risk off the tee, and then the green surrounds look really, really tough. I think if they want to put some tough pins out there, they're definitely be able to win. It looks like it's going to be 15-ish mile an hour winds off the water, which anytime the wind comes off the water, I feel like it's 10 more yards of impact than when you're not on the water from club selection. So yeah, I think you've got to be a legit ball striker this week. But the problem is, who are the legit ball strikers in this field? That's why EVR makes sense as the favorite, because EVR can flush it, and he's played good on these kind of water. I think of Liv Nash when he played good. It kind of fits that. But let me do this. Let me read to you the top 20 guys in the model, because obviously I tried to create a model that focused on ball striking, and I'm just going to fire them off and tell me when I'm done, names that pop out to you. Almost all of these guys are between 30 and 70-1.
Okay.
BSB Novak, number 1. And then we got Vic Perez, Ryan Moore, EVR, Kraft, Rico, Hoey, BSB, Ben Martin, Grazerman, Doug Kim, Matty Schmid. I'll pause there halfway through. Any of those guys you like?
Yeah, I think 2 of those. Okay, right at the top, Andrew Novak. What are his odds, by the way?
40. Totally fine.
40-1. Totally fine. He's had a great season this far, and he is in this field has the closest Myrtle Beach connection. Went to high school at Academic Magnet High School, which is just north of Charleston. Wow. Went to college at Wofford, which is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Home game, good vibes, ball strikers track. We're betting those.
Model number 1, 40. Novak, we're locking him in at 4. That number's got to go down. I don't think we're going to get a better number than 40 on BSB this week.
And then Ben Martin was just infinity chalk on a golf course that made kind of sense. Windy, got to hit it well. Clemson, he's also a Clemson guy.
Wow, 60, and he's 60-1. So I think that's fair. And I will say Ben Martin was originally model number 1 when I ran it the first time, but then I made some adjustments. So purely on the first time I ran the numbers, he was model number 1. He's 7 now, but yeah, I'm down for Ben Martin. The next 10 guys: Lauer, Laird, Bo Haas, Chan Kim, Austin Cook, Sammy Valley, Joel Damon, Berger coming off a good finish. Oh my God, Berger's 30-1.
Yeah, I saw that. He's gonna be tipped because he had a good week. He shot like 67 every round, I think, last week.
And
So consistent.
there is, I think, a PGA Nash vibes too, where obviously Berger's played well. Ben Griffin, 28-1, and then SH Kim, Davey T, CT Pon, and Taiga Semikawa off of a solid performance. That's the next set of guys.
Is this Bermuda?
It's got to be, right? We're in Myrtle Beach.
It's got to be. It's in South Carolina. If so, Ben Griffin. Also,
I worry about Ben Griffin's tee to green game.
Yeah. If it is Bermuda, I think I could do it. But he played all right last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new Max Fly he's got in the bag. It's you start playing a Max Fly, folks, your ball striking numbers are going to excel. Everybody knows that.
North Carolina guy as well, just connections. And then Taiga Semikawa. Did you see my first round leader call on him last week?
I did. I bet him the week before in Japan. He played terrible. And then so I was worried he was going to win Byron after I bet him at like 50-1 at the Japan tournament.
Yeah, 3-putt number 18 or 9, one of the par 5s to not cast the first round leader. So did Nat, by the way. I had both of them first round leaders, but no big deal. And yeah, so I'm going to go with Ben Griffin in that range probably.
The problem for me is he's 28-1. I think I'm going to.
Oh, really? Okay. Disavow. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah. There's some just basically, like I said, all the guys between 30 and 80. There's some interesting ones. We got Matty Walls, Kevin Yu, Rio. Gotta like Rio this week. Unfortunately, he's only 40-1.
Rio's odds?
I'm only 40-1.
We hit Rio on the head last week. We said he has no chance to win, but has the most chance to top 20. And it was a business casual, easy top 20.
Yeah. Rio, solid golfer. It's just tough at 40-1. Toasty, he's good in difficult conditions. It's not a Toasty course, but I just think Toasty is such a weapon off the tee.
Yeah.
If you let him, I mean, he gained a ton tee to green last week. He missed the cut because he lost infinity putting, but he gained, 1.6, 2.6, 3.1. He gained 6.3 in 2 rounds tee to green.
That's absurd.
But he lost 6.2 putting.
That's true Kyle Stanley stuff right there.
Always watch out for Nico Echeverria in these opposite field events. He's playing good. He's 90-1.
I was going to say Højgaard. I was like, whoa.
Nico at 80-1. I mean, at 90-1.
He's having a bad season, but I'm down.
Nico? What are you talking about?
Echeverria?
He was T24 at Mexico, T21 at Honda, T15 at Puerto, T14 at Corrales, T4 at Zurich, and T24 last week.
Sorry.
He's good.
You're right.
And I like him.
I like him too. I
like him on Bermuda. That's when I like him. I think he's best on Bermuda. But and it was more of, I mean, he's not a good golfer, but at 90-1, at least he's won one of these opposite field events in the wind before. At was it Porto or Corrales that he won?
I think that was Porto.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Your boy Smalley is 50-1. He played better last week.
Duke guy. I'm down.
And I will say, speak to the home game model narrative, because what was the only possible way Ben Kohles would have been on people's minds last week?
Dallas resident. That's it. And he almost won. And I tried to get to all of those narratives last week, and I somehow missed Kohles. So hand up, I will do better.
Yeah, so the home game narrative is a real thing. I'm sure Jers will let the people know of who's got the home game advantage this week. He's already given you some names right out of the gates. He's the home game narrative guy. Bobby Mack's in the field. Ryan Fox is in the field. We'll probably find some random Euros in this field.
Fox has got to figure it out. Yeah,
it's not good from him. ADD, is it ADDC?
Yeah.
ADDC?
Double D.
Yeah. He's 110-1. He played all right last week. He's still got the talent. So
yeah, he's an easy course merchant. So I'm not sure how that will play, but I like him on easy courses.
The last thing I will say, it just came to my mind. We forgot to even talk about the Ben Kohles final hole situation. We talked about it in the sense of Pendy winning, but what was he doing? I mean, obviously you wanted it to happen, and I wanted it to happen too. I think a lot of people wanted it to happen, but anytime, I'm not a professional golfer. I'm not even a good golfer, but I know one thing. I watch a lot of golf, and when you have important shot to win the most important thing of your career, it's a chip. and you're taking 20 practice swings next to the ball, like hacking away over and over and over and over and over and your caddy's like still close to you because he's like, are you hitting? Like, what are we doing here? And then you just whack, 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 one step, walk up, whack the ball. Never works. You've got
he was over the ball a lot.
Yeah, just take a step back. I was waiting for him to take a step back, stand behind the ball, get a lay of the land in front of him, but it was dead from the second he did the practice swings and then walked right into the ball. Like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, well, I mean, what did you think he could have done differently? Because what was the lie like? It was obviously not great, but it felt like he tried to hit the perfect like flop shot to 3 feet when he didn't need. Like, did he think that Pendrith was going to make the eagle? Probably. Like maybe he was playing for that. Like, I need to get this up and down. Taylor's making this eagle. Did he try? It looked like he tried to hit the perfect shot.
I think the ball was obviously slightly above his feet. The replay showed he just caught it super high on the face. But to your point, just hit that 20 feet past the hole. Like, it wasn't a chip where he couldn't get it inside of 15, 20 feet. I mean, it would like, if he closes the face and just whacks it up onto the green and plays it past the pin, he's 20 feet. But like, the only possible way that you don't at least go to a playoff is not getting the chip onto the green, because then and he hit good chip on the second one. That was a solid shot. And
I thought he was going to make the putt.
But like, dude, we got to get the ball on the green.
Yeah, that was tough scene. I'm happy he broke my way, but that was definitely a tough look. So we'll see. Oh, also, I meant to mention this when we were talking about Myrtle. We were 2 holes away from the ultimate home game narrative. Sebastian Soderberg could have won this last week, and he is the lone DP World Tour PGA Tour player that graduated from Coastal Carolina. Dustin Johnson was the guy, and now it's Soderberg. And he could have been there.
A kid named Vinny Murphy, who was the best golfer in Washington when I was growing up. This kid was fucking electric. Like, everybody thought this kid was going to make it big. I don't know what happened to him. I think he went to either went to Eastern Carolina or Coastal Carolina. So when you say when you say one of the directional Carolina schools, I think of Vinny Murphy. Shout out to Vinny. Good guy, nice kid. Was a friend of mine growing up. Could have made it. He was our chance to do something big on the PGA Tour. But this is obviously
you got Highsmith now.
Yeah, we got Highsmith. We've got the Putnams. And obviously we got Cam Davis. So Cam Davis is now ours from Washington. Ryan Moore also is in the field this week. He's 80-1. He's number 3 in the model.
Wanna know
who's absolutely
good guys, dude.
No, like Washington specifically, like University of Washington. We've had some good players. Nick Taylor went to UW. We've got dudes.
So many guys.
And we also, again, guys who don't pan out. Because golf's insane. Like, there's this guy who went to UW named Chris Williams, probably like a few years older than me. He was number 1 amateur. He was sick. This guy was like supposed to be the next guy. Never panned out. So, but yeah, we got dudes, and one of our guys, Ryan Moore, 80-1, Myrtle Beach, been flushing it with the irons, positional guy.
Sure
plays
has.
good at. If you go, I think we should probably use Wyndham, right, to some degree as a comp this week.
Elevated greens, I'm down.
All right, get to the site. golf.vincerics.com for the odds, and we're going to start integrating some write-ups on there this week. Test that out. Get over to vincerics.com, get subscribed, because we're going to have boots on the ground at Valhalla, and we're going to be absolutely grinding there like we always do. We'll be there. We'll probably walk 90,000 steps over those 3 days minimum. So
yeah, and get in there as soon as possible. Drop any questions that you want Adam and I to cover. We'll get to everything. So tweet us also. Like, we'll figure it out. So
yeah,
let's get
in the Discord. And it's true. Like, people in the Discord will support this. We'll, like, especially boots on the ground, when people ask about a guy, we will see what this guy's doing. We will try our best to find them. I would say we get to like 90% of the guys that people talk about. Like, obviously it's tough sometimes because you can't know exactly when and where guys are on the course. And hopefully the key also is Valhalla. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be very vast and open. It's sick when you can easily get from the front 9 to the back 9. When the front 9 and the back 9 have a crossover, that's Boots' dream scenario. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, Jers. Thank you. Let's keep it hot. I'm gonna try to get on the winning train this week. I don't even know how many winners we've had over the last month and a half, but it's been a good amount.
It's been a good one.
I want one this week. Well, let's make it happen. Talk to you later, sir.
Do it.